Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds, and today I am hanging out with Cody Lewis from Taking20. So, hey guys, jump down to the description below where you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter, game weekly tips, as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy. Down there, you're going to also find a link to Taking20, and there's going to be another video featuring yours truly over there as well, releasing at the same time. So, watch this video, then head on over there. So, I forget who, but one of us was online and we're checking out, different YouTubers and listening to things. And there was this one YouTuber, and he was like, power YouTubers are just killing the game, the hobby, with all their power game videos and their builds for characters. Why can't they just like play the game? Kind of was like the synopsis.
Yeah, it was weird because I got this comment on one of my videos. Was like, hey, this other guy called you out, and I was like, what? So I go over and I watch the video, and it really surprised me. So I'm watching the video, and it's a really, really long video. It's like 13 minutes long, and in essence, the whole video is just like all of the popular YouTubers are ruining the hobby whenever they make any type of builds. We should never have build videos because those videos teach newer players, because newer players are the ones looking for those videos, how to play the game wrong, and that's not fun. And I think that was kind of one of my biggest issues with the video, was that they specifically were like, and that's not fun because I know what's fun. I'm paraphrasing, but that was definitely the tone to the video. And so yeah, it really surprised me. I mean, did you watch the whole thing?
I did not, but like I get the gist. And I'd rather talk about, instead of talking about that and that guy's opinion, I'd rather us give our opinion why we think it is fun to do builds and why people like them.
Yeah,
right?
I love theory crafting. So yeah, we can talk about that, no problem.
I feel like one of the biggest things people come to this channel for is character builds. They love, how do you make this? How do you make that? And here's the thing, even though we talk about the game in terms of mechanics and optimization and what is the best way to do things often in Nerdarchy, we don't actually play the game that way.
Sure.
It's fun. It's fun to move the pieces around and put them together and talk about it. But oftentimes we will also talk about suboptimal builds and how, Gish characters pretty much are always worse than any other kind, but it doesn't mean it's not fun. You have to differentiate between good and optimized and fun. They're not exclusive to each other.
Yeah, that's one thing that's always surprised me with the people who just immediately jump to the any and all optimization is all power gaming and all power gaming is awful. And so like it always surprises me because when I see new players, because I play with a lot of new players. That's one thing I think that I do probably as much as anybody is I am constantly playing with new people into the game. And, it's fun for them to have these builds that, the characters that just feel like they can do something cool. If you look at Brandon Sanderson's, he's a big fantasy writer. If you look at some of the concepts that he has for writing, is he says one of the first ways to get an audience interested in a character is to have it be good at something, right? Have it be good at something. And I always thought that people who hated like dump stats, the term dump stats, because they're like, oh, you're just optimizing. It's like, well, if you're putting something that you're not great at, right? If you have a low strength, that's, I think, more interesting to have a low strength and a really high dexterity score. I think that's far more interesting than having like a pretty good, strength and a pretty good dex score. I'm kind of good at everything. I don't actually think that those characters are as interesting, in my opinion. But I think you're right with, just because we go over the theory crafting, it doesn't necessarily mean that every single game we play and every single character that we run is like a machine of optimization that we planned out from level one. I mean, I certainly don't play that way.
My main character, Uthengar, is a Gish, wizard fighter. He's never as good as a full spellcaster when it came to casting spells. Never as good as the fighter when it comes to fighting stuff. He's just fun to play. I have more options. that I can do, and that's what I really enjoy. And like you were saying about dump stats and scores, when you just look at the numbers for anything, it's boring. But when you take those numbers and distill a story from them,
Yep.
why do you have an 8 strength or a 6 or a 6 dex or whatever? We played Gamma World based off the 4th edition rule set, and my character, they had like really weird character creation process, and my character had like a 5 intelligence, so I played him like a toddler, and the rest of the party got a kick out of it. It was fun. He was memorable not because he had a massive strength and could really smash stuff when it needed to be smashed, but because he was very childlike in how he did things, and how how the party had to interact with him, and that stuff is just going to make for a better game. But let's bring it back to kind of like the idea of builds.
Yeah, I mean, so like, let me ask you this: Jogo is one of, I think, a lot of people. If you don't know who Jogo is, he's Dave's magnificent character on season 1 of Saber Dice, and he's actually a half ogre, but he's really Goliath reskinned or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Yes.
he's a Goliath stat wise brawler barbarian, and dude, I would say probably if I were to look at your numbers, I would bet that your character is pretty close to being optimized. Am I wrong in that assessment?
Yeah, he physically he is as optimized as you can get for a barbarian that is punching things, in combat and grappling things.
But you know what? Like, that's never a problem for us in the game. Nothing about the way that you built Jogo, more specifically the way you play Jogo, takes away from anybody else's experience at the table. We love Jogo. We love that you play him so kind of I mean, almost childlike, like your Gish you're talking about. You play him almost kind of naive with his mental stats and stuff, and he's one of everybody that watches the show. They're always like, "We love Jogo so much. We love Jogo. We're so glad to have Jogo back." And he's just a fun character, and I don't think just because you optimize him that takes away any part of the game from either the players or for our audience.
Yeah, he was built to brawl. He was built to grapple, and I like the standard array or point buy, so I dumped intelligence, and it gives me an excuse to metagame. I metagame so hard with that character, and everyone thinks that means something bad, right? It has negative connotations, but I go the other way with it. I go, Dave, the player knows this is the wrong thing to do because
Yep.
I know what this is. I know what's going on. Oh my god, I was dying when Jim was running the game last night, and we were going through those caverns. In case you haven't seen it, you want to see, I'm not going to tell you people, but I knew what was going on. I knew what was on the walls, and I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
Wait, can we spoil it a little bit? Can we spoil it a little bit?
Sure.
Jogo Dave as a DM of how 20 years, 25 years, something like that. You see a black pudding, and your character has an intelligence dump stat. He's never seen this monster before. What's he gonna do? Oh yeah, he's gonna try to punch it to death. And all of us were sitting there watching, like we're all YouTube content creators we all talk about playing Dungeons and Dragons, and we are just dying laughing because you are actually metagaming your character the wrong way, specifically because of you're really into role playing.
I didn't just try and punch it. I tried to grapple pudding.
It was so great. It was so great. And again, I think that points back to our D&D YouTubers. Are we ruining the game? I don't think so. I don't think so.
The objective is to have fun, and there is nothing fun about building a character that sucks and can't do anything. So why not build a character that's really good at doing things? And there's always a sacrifice. And I never understand when a GM's like, I can't deal with this character. The build is too strong. It's too powerful. And, it ruins all of my encounters. Every character has an Achilles heel. In our own game,
Mm-hmm.
Ted had this come up. He's been DMing for nearly as long as me. And, he's got a Drow Bard, College of Lore in the game who is focused on enchantment and charming, and has wrecked a handful of his encounters. And so as we progress, Ted has had to adjust the game a little bit to compensate for the fact that some monsters are just going to be charmed, and there's nothing he can do about it. But every once in a while, what he does do is okay, here's a construct that can't be charmed, or here's something where your powers are all pretty much useless against it.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If people are like, oh, you got that player versus DM mentality to make up for power gaming because it's ruined your game, and now the DM has to come up with extra stuff. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You even if your players weren't quote unquote power gaming, you would still want to come up with creative situations that challenges different party members at different times in different ways. So I don't see anything wrong with Ted doing something like that. I think it makes perfect sense. It's exactly what I would do in my game. I'll tell you, I had a barbarian in my Storm King's Thunder campaign, and he was so hard to hurt just because he was just a health sponge. And so whenever he was going up to fight all these giants, I basically just had the giants throw him. They throw him away. It's just one of them. That's one of their moves because they pick the guy up and throw him. And so he would run up, and the giant would just take him, throw him 60 feet, and the next move the giant would keep moving to close in on the caster. I thought that was perfectly strategic for me as a dungeon master to do. So, I mean,
well, yeah, and an intelligent monster is going to do things that make sense, and not only that too. Like whenever you build a specialist,
mm-hmm.
that means there's certain areas where they're not designed to excel.
Yep.
And it's not your fault as the DM when those come up, and they're going to come up eventually. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
We get questions all the time, and we got one the other day. Is like, I don't know what to do against my party. We have 2 clerics, and they both use spiritual guardians all the time, and everything.
That is a dynamite spell. Yeah, there's no doubt.
But there's 3 of us sitting there talking, look at each other almost simultaneously, like ranged weapons, maybe.
Do this. Yep. Narrow them down into a hallway. There's so many things you can do. But I've only really made 1 or 2 build videos. And I certainly hope that most people don't feel like that are watching that we're trying to encourage people to ruin their games. I don't think we're doing that. I hope we're not doing that.
No, and actually to move in another direction is like why we do those videos. Do we do those videos because we want everyone to make the most superior optimized character that they can possibly make?
No. You do it because it's fun and you want to share it. You look down and you're like, oh, that's a cool concept. I bet that'd make it for a fun video. And you know what? And people watch those videos. They enjoy them. We get so many comments on those. I put my Archer video out. I think like hours before your video went up, like 17 hours before your video went up or something like that. And I got a bunch of comments. Hey, can you make one for this? Hey, can you make a video for this? I got messages on my Facebook. Oh my gosh, I love this video. Can you do more? Because people it's just fun to watch. I am a sucker for Andrew's videos that he does theory crafting on, right? Where he's like
how to do 555,000 damage.
Yes, when he's like 40,000 damage with one spell. It's like that's fun. That's just fun to talk about the game in that way. And I think that's why I make those videos. And that's why Dave, that's why you just clickbait me every time into watching your build videos, man. I love them.
We're nerds, right? We were doing the same shit before we had a YouTube channel, right?
That's exactly
it's like,
it.
Well, what would this comic book character be like? Or what would this do? Or people want to go, well, how do I make a good spear fighter, or like a Spartan? And sometimes it is about optimization. And other times it is just like, no, I seen a thing in a movie and I want to do that.
How do I replicate it? Right?
Yeah.
How do I make this? How do I make Black Panther into a D&D character and stuff like that?
Or even like characters from Game of Thrones, they fight a certain way. I want my character to fight that way. So sometimes it is about power gaming and optimization, but other times it's just like, this is a cool thing that I saw and it would be fun to do in the game.
Oh, don't kid yourself, Dave. You're ruining the game with all of your builds, man. You're just wrecking the game for all these dungeon masters with new players. You're teaching them to play the game wrong, and it's clearly not fun.
Excellent. That was my plan all along. A pure agent of chaos.
Oh man.
The real question, guys, is How do you guys feel about optimized builds, character builds? Do you like when your favorite YouTubers put them out and compare them to each other? Is that your thing? We got a place where you guys can talk about it. That is down in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to head over to Taking20 and check out Cody's channel. So until next time, stay nerdy.